Hello and welcome. You're watching India Fights back with me, Rajat Kane. In this episode of the show, we'll discuss how the Union Cabinet's approval of over 23,000 crore for ramping up health infrastructure in the light of COVID pandemic will help accelerate the health system preparedness across the country, and how it is essential to have in place an immediate responsiveness for early prevention, detection and management with focus on health infrastructure development, including pediatric care. To discuss further on these issues with joint panel of two guests, Vishal Chauhan, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Many thanks, Mr. Chauhan, for joining us, and Dr. K. Madan Gopal, Senior Consultant Health from Niti Aayog. Many thanks, Dr. Madan Gopal, for being part of the show. Let me start with you first, Mr. Chauhan, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health. Sir, in terms of the finer prints, I mean, if you can brief our viewers, what are the salient points of this scheme that has been approved by the Cabinet?
This is Emergency COVID Response Package 2, which is approved by the Ministry, by the Cabinet yesterday. Is basically the purpose is to prepare for any future if any eventuality arises. Then our health system should be strengthened. Our infrastructure should be well equipped to take up any future cases if are coming up. So with that objective, this health emergency COVID response package 2. We are saying 2 because one came last year,
right,
and it showed a very good results. And in terms of we could create some infrastructure, we could create more dedicated COVID hospitals. We could engage more manpowers. So now to help and contesting the future surge in the cases, now this package 2 has come.
Right. Many thanks, Mr. Chauhan, for your initial brief about the package here. Please stay on. Dr. Madan Gopal, sir, we in previous episode of the show, as you have enlightened us as to what are the important things that government of the day is doing in terms to counter the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what are the areas where all of us need to, at least in terms of healthcare, there has to be need for concentrating on the aspects?
Roger, thanks. First, we should go to the historical thing. When the pandemic started, during the first phase, as Mr. Chauhan has highlighted, that this is a phase, this is a package number 2.
Yeah.
But during the earlier package, we have to go to the historical thing, why it was required. Because when the pandemic started, we were not knowing what to do. So immediate impetus was required. So the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and the state governments, they required fund to prepare themselves to manage the pandemic. As the private sector was unable to support the government in providing the services to manage this pandemic, so it was required that this stimulus was required. And if you look at the progress made by the first phase, so many COVID dedicated hospitals were created, so many health centers came up. We started with one lab, one COVID testing lab. Now we are having more than 2,000 labs. So that kind of ramp up was required. And apart from that, if you look at the way things have evolved, we required COVID dedicated facility, we required oxygen beds, we required ICUs, we required the quarantine beds. That kind of structure was envisaged during that phase 1, and the results have been very tremendous. I will just read you how we have progressed during that phase 2 before coming up to the areas where the second phase is talking about. Right. If you look at the way the category 1 COVID dedicated hospitals, they have evolved from 162 to 3,723-fold increase in the number of this. If you look at the category 2 dedicated COVID health centers, they have raised from 0. We were having 0 centers. Now, at the end of the first phase, we had around 7,700 plus this. And the other is COVID dedicated centers. We were having nil. Now, at the end of this first package, we were having around 9,500 COVID dedicated centers. Apart from that, when we started the pandemic, there were 50,000 oxygen supported beds. Now we are having around 4 lakh oxygen supported beds. That means around 7 to 8 times increase in the number of this oxygen beds. If you look at the ICU beds, we started when the pandemic started, it was 2,500. Now we are having more than 1,10,000 ICU beds. 45%, 40 times increase in this. Apart from that, when the second phase started, and all this preparation was sufficient to cater to the surge of the cases. That means 2 lakh to 3 lakh cases surge. The preparedness level reached up to that level. But once the surge came to this 4 lakhs, we touched 4 lakhs such cases per day. Then there was a need to ramp up the facilities again. See that how we have to take the things forward, and what are the areas, the core areas that more ramp up is required in the infrastructure, right, in terms of creating beds, oxygen beds, ICU beds, as well as creating oxygen supplies, oxygen lines, as well as transporting facilities. Besides ramping up the facilities in the rural areas, particularly for managing the pediatric cases and other things. That kind of thing is envisaged in the package 2, learnings from the package 1. So package 2 is more or less a augmentation of the already facilities which are there, augmenting so that the preparedness for the next level can happen. It's not a one-time investment that after the pandemic is over, the investments are so focused that whatever infrastructure is created with this package, we are going to use it for non-COVID purpose also after the pandemic. With that kind of vision, the infrastructure and the packages is being made, and with a focus on the pediatric care as well as augmenting the infrastructure in the rural and the far-flung areas. Over to you, please.
Right, sir. Extremely thankful for giving an elaborate reply to this query. As you have covered the wide gamut of area here in terms of what we had in the second wave, especially with numbers rising manifold to 4 lakhs per day. Mr. Vishal Chauhan, sir, just talking about the second wave, because there we saw health sector under deep distress, especially in terms of the shortage of oxygen per se and oxygen bed. Did we ever envisage that this possibly could be the scenario?
Though initially, of course, there were some issues with the oxygens, but you also saw that the production of oxygen was ramped up many times. And the lot of oxygen was imported, lot of tankers were also imported, and lot of production was ramped up. Lot of industrial oxygen was diverted for the medical oxygen. Lot of PSA plants got sanctioned under the PM CARES. So in a short duration of time, we were able to manage the oxygen situation. And now also the package is also addressing this oxygen issues.
Right.
A very large number of PSA plants, about 1,500 or so, are setting up under the PM CARES package, in which states are getting oxygen plant, pressurized swing absorption oxygen plants. And in this package also, what we are supporting to the state is that 1,050 number of oxygen tanks we are supporting with the MGPS system, that is medical gas pipeline system. So the idea is that once at least one hospital in every district of the country should have a oxygen tank with 10,000 liter capacity.
Right.
And also bigger districts or where the population is more, we can also give the 2 oxygen tanks with the MGPS system. The whole idea is that one is we have to have the storage capacity for the oxygen so that we can tackle any issue, any surge coming in future. And that is the, that is the objective of this package, that we build up those capacities which are very much required in the COVID time, so that if there is a surge or cases, they can be handled. So besides the oxygen, this package is issuing addressing this package is also, there is a lot of talk about the pediatric COVID cases.
Yes, I was about to go there.
So far the evidence is not showing that they are going to be very large number of pediatric cases, but we have to be ready. So in this package, every district hospital or every one district, there will be a pediatric care unit will be coming, which will have 30 oxygen beds or 20 oxygen beds depending upon the size of the districts. And we'll have a ICU/HDU unit of 12 beds, so that every district has a pediatric care center. So that is a major focus of this package, so that we prepare for the future surges in case it affects more to pediatric population or adolescents for that matter. And also to support these district hospitals in pediatric care. In every state, this package has envisaged a center of excellence. It can be in a state medical college, it can be in a state big district state hospital, or it can be in one of the AIIMS also, or it can be in one of the central hospitals. So that center of excellence at a state level will guide in tele-ICU medicine and all these things to the district hospital. So these are two very big initiatives I said about the oxygen and also the pediatric care of this package. And this is going to really help the states in any future kind of a situation.
Right, that's really important. Many thanks, Mr. Vishal Chauhan. In fact, I was about to ask you about the pediatric care. Good you answered that, sir. Dr. Madan Gopal, sir, as we speak, Prime Minister he's reviewing the progress and the augmentation and availability of oxygen across the country. So basically, we are actually taking the ramping up of oxygen and other healthcare infrastructure to greater levels each day, and especially after this clearance by the cabinet. So how important, in terms of the hypothesis, as we discussed, waves after waves, and of course, it's a virus, it will mutate, and they perhaps could be 1 or 2 waves or more, as experts are saying. As an expert, as a medical expert, I mean, the third wave, as we talk about, or rather, a surge, what are basic parameters that we're looking at, if at all numbers increase?
Basically, whether third wave will come or not, that's a different question. But epidemiologically speaking, if you talk about third wave or any surge which has to happen, it should have a vulnerable population. And ICMR has recently initiated a national level zero survey that will give you the extent of the infection which has spread in the community, and that will also show that how much population is vulnerable who can have infection. But if you look at the progression of the infection, it is progressing from the bigger cities to now smaller cities where the infection was previously not there. That means the vulnerability of the population in the rural and the areas where the infection was not there, that's very high. That's one thing. That means there's a lot of possibility that the infection can go there, and we are witnessing that the places, the northeast, which was left untouched during this peak of April and May. Now you are seeing a rise of cases in the northeastern part, and few of the districts they have not experienced this thing. But nevertheless, whatever surges are happening, the preparations are going on. As you have seen with the package 1, which has already been implemented to its optimal maximum. It has been implemented to the maximum, and you are seeing the results. The second thing is, apart from augmenting the infrastructure and other things, during one of the previous discourses, we have discussed that skilling is also happening to complement the efforts made by the human resources who are currently deployed for this COVID duties. To motivate the people, the human resources aspect is also been factored here. Apart from creating a skilled pool of youth and the workers through the other program, the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister has announced during the earlier days that we would be creating skilled manpower who can take care, who can help in the testing, who can help in the management, home care management, who can help in the other activities. So apart from that, during this package, we are trying to see that how the human resources who are deployed, how that human resources which can be augmented for the active COVID management. Support would be provided to the states for engaging payment of incentive to the human resources. That's a major thing which is there.
Absolutely.
That includes engaging the medical interns, the residents, as well as if the need arises, the final year MBBS students, they can be also deployed in future for teleconsultations and monitoring. And the pilots and the other experiments which have been done on a limited setting in few of the districts, it has shown a very promising result deploying the final year medical student. Apart from that, for augmenting human resources, the final year general nursing students as well as BSc nursing students, they can be deployed for COVID nursing duties and personnel. and makeshift hospitals would be there. And the another thing which the preparedness which is happening is how we can establish community-based based things involving the local communities, including panchayats, for risk communication. Besides using the IT platform or other things, that kind of preparedness activities they are going on simultaneously to address any of the so-called third wave or second wave. Remember, we are still in the second wave. We have not yet come to the minimal transmission level to call it that we are now over with the second wave. Second wave is still continuing. We have to remember that. And we would be responsible if the third wave comes. We can see that the third wave will not come, but we should make efforts towards that. It's not that by saying it will happen. Over to you, please.
Right, sir, right. Mr. Vishal Chauhan, sir, besides ramping up of the health infrastructure in terms of tangibilities like ramping up of the beds in hospitals and oxygen availability, what are the other steps that in this package and scheme that we're seeing in terms of testing? How there is a corpus that will help us in boosting the infrastructure of testing, genome sequencing, and other aspects so as to counter the larger issue of the pandemic?
Yes. So it's a very important and relevant question. But before that, I will just talk about the oxygen also.
Sure, sir.
One more thing. That in the under the PM Care, 1 lakh oxygen concentrators are also getting distributed in the rural area, in the peri-urban area, in all the states. So this is a very, and already few thousands, about 10,000 or 7,000 or so have already been dispatched to the states. So one by one, states are getting these oxygen concentrators of 5 liter per minute capacity and 10 liter per minute capacity. So these will be reaching to the primary health sub-centers, primary health centers, and the community health centers. So the idea is that the requirement of the oxygen should be met for to deal with the mild cases at the village level itself, so that everybody doesn't have to rush. So this is another very important development which is taking place, and we are monitoring the distribution of these oxygen concentrators through a portal made by NIC. And every day we are getting a report that it has reached at district headquarters, it has reached the facility, and it has reached this thing. So that is the thing.
Right. Dr. Madan Gopal, sir, as you spoke about several other features that obviously would be stressed upon in the second package, to say of. One thing that we often come across is like how during the course of pandemic, especially post-vaccination, we have ramped up, the digital initiative so as to have a complete tap of where healthcare facilities are going, who is getting vaccinated. How important do you see is the digital interface with the beneficiaries during the time of pandemic?
So, last time you asked about this testing also. So we are keeping a target of 16 lakhs rapid antigen tests per day and 5 lakhs RT-PCR tests per day. So for that also we are supporting to the states also, so that they continue to do the testing and adopt this strategy of testing, tracking, and prevention kind of the strategy. They continue to do it. So also in the genome sequences, it is very important that a lot of new variants came, like Delta variant came, then there is a talk about the Delta Plus variant also. So this we have to also see that. So NCDC is getting supported in this package.
Right.
National Center for Disease Control is getting supported in this package. And they are trying to set up a genome sequencing lab. So we can, if any new wave is coming with new variant, we should be able to identify it well in advance. So that is the this thing. Second thing you asked about the IT initiatives. I'm very happy to tell you that in this package we are covering the e-hospital management, hospital management information system in the remaining leftover 426 district hospitals. Right now, only 310 district hospitals in the country are having this e-hospital, whether it is e-Shushrut made by the CDEC or it is the e-hospital made by the NIC. So we are supporting the remaining 426 hospitals also, so that they can be fully computerized. And that is one very great initiative is coming. Second initiative is coming is that right now we are doing teleconsultation like 50, 60,000, 70,000 per day. We want to take up to the 5 lakhs consultations per day. So because during COVID time we have seen that teleconsultation proved to be very, very effective, very, very important, and it was very, very useful. So we are going to have this more and more teleconsultation. For that we are also strengthening our central system, and we are also strengthening our district hubs. We are strengthening. So these two major IT initiatives are coming. Besides that, we have a central COVID war room where we get data every day. It's get updated, and based on that data available to us, we inform to the states and to what action to take. We give advisories to the state. So these kind of initiatives are also, we are trying to strengthen our control room. We are trying to strengthen our war room in the central sector, and also you know that the CoWIN software is working very, very well.
Right.
And as the vaccination will increase, the numbers will increase. So these are the few IT-related initiatives are also supported in this package.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Dr. K. Madan Gopal sir, just before we close the show, I mean, I just want to pick your thoughts about like the digital drive and the initiative in terms of, you know, having a clear interface between the beneficiaries and the digitization. Say, for instance, CoWIN app, how it has helped in a larger fight against pandemic.
Rajat, if you have been following this pandemic for quite some time now. So you have seen that how the digital interface has helped, right from the home-based care management, the teleconsultations, the eSanjeevani platform. They have been proved to be very effective. When we started the rollout of the vaccination program, so we used to have a e-vaccine system which was advanced to CoWIN platform. The CoWIN platform, you see, it is being able to demonstrate the ease at which the appointments are happening, the ease at which the logistics are being deployed, the ease at which the sessions are being planned. It's not that if you have to do a manual kind of exercise without the aid of a digital thing for planning, even a session of this immunization requires a work of 3-4 days. 3-4 days of planning. Now, immediately the moment the stock of the vaccine is there, the list of the beneficiaries in a digital mode, what vaccine is coming, who are the vaccine beneficiaries. The reminder is also given to the beneficiary that the second dose is now due, and you have to go to the nearest center, register for the second dose, schedule your second dose, and you can go. That kind of ease and things have happened. For any new technology, if you look at this kind of technology, there will be certain glitches. People would say that it is not working. But you see that how fast we have made it. We have made it in 3 months. All the efforts started during the month of October, November, and by January we have rolled it out. And now it is advancing. And it is going strong and strong day by day. Now we are able to showcase this technology, and 70, 80 countries, they have shown interest in adopting this technology. It has made the planning of the immunization very smooth. It has made the distribution of the vaccine and supplies very smooth. It has eased the citizens to take the appointment at the nearest center. It's not that I am just listed and tagged to one center, I have to go there. No, they can get themselves inoculated at any place in the country. That kind of ease this digital platform has given. And in the coming days, you will be seeing more of such kind of innovations.
Right.
Over to you.
Right. Absolutely. Mr. Vishal Chauhan, just as we close the show, sir, how important is it to follow COVID appropriate behavior strictly? And this is something which even Prime Minister has been emphasizing, or rather every leader of the country has emphasized nth time that we all have to follow COVID appropriate behavior even after getting vaccinated. How important is it, sir?
This is very, very important. But in just line, I would like to also tell you that in this package, we are also providing 8,800 ambulances. If you remember, there was lot of demand for the ambulances. So we are providing ambulances also to the states, supporting the states. Also 20,000 ICU beds are coming. So these are also very important development. Out of this 20,000 ICU beds, 4,000 are going to be the pediatric ICU beds.
Okay.
And lastly, we are providing 2.44 lakh isolation beds. And these are coming in the prefabricated units in the primary health sub-centers and primary health centers, so that they can be made very quickly and put to use. Now, with regards to your specific question about the COVID appropriate behavior, as you rightly said, it is suggested from the highest level. Honorable Prime Minister is also suggesting again and again. Everybody is saying this, and it is very important because we have seen that there have been few COVID cases even after vaccine. Though the severity was much less, the fatality was much less, but still this COVID appropriate behavior is very important because no amount of preparation will be sufficient. Today we are preparing for 2 lakh ICU beds, or we may be preparing lot of oxygen per day. But if the case will keep on rising, it is difficult to ramp up infrastructure. So we have to control on the cases, and that is possible only if the COVID appropriate behavior is adopted. And all the state governments, all the municipal corporations, all the law enforcing agency and citizens, very important, and communities have to follow it.
Right. Many thanks, Mr. Vishal Chauhan, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health, for elucidating on this important aspect, and of course, like taking us threadbare to the second phase of health package that has been cleared by the cabinet just last day. Well, many thanks, Dr. K. Madan Gopal, for joining us, Senior Consultant Health from Niti Aayog. So clearly, our viewers, you just heard these two experts, and they have once again emphasized on the COVID appropriate behavior. So clearly, these are small things that we have to do. Keep maintaining physical distancing, keep washing your hands and maintaining hygiene, and do not forget to wear the face mask. Well, that's it in this edition of the show. Thank you. Goodbye.